Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Hero Podcast. My name is Ryan G from ADS Aligned Data Strategy with my co-host, the real Pete Kirkwoods. Pete, what is our topic today?
Today, Ryan, I want to talk about reframing like a hero, specifically when you're in the situation where the odds are against you, because this happens to us a lot in life. And a lot of times, that's one of our biggest opportunities for growth, to really push our character in new directions, discover new things about ourselves and who we are and what we can do, really find our limits, not even testing them. That's there as well, but you don't even know where a lot of your limits are when you're reaching your arm out into the darkness. You can't feel anything. That's a scary part, but you're at a disadvantage in that moment. And how do you change that in a way? Heroes come across this all the time. The heroic story is all about overcoming adversity. You know where I'm coming from with this?
I think I do. A lot of the times, it's those transitional phases between, let's say, two data points where you first meet your mentor, let's say, and he puts you through some, bullshit obstacle course and you feel, the frustration of, damn you, sincerely. I believe you went through something similar, didn't you?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
recently.
It's funny. Like, as soon as you said that, that's exactly what I thought of as well, because I finally went and started BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you don't know the acronym. And I did do some classes for a little while many years ago. We're talking like a decade. Like, it doesn't count. Like, everyone who's anyone knows it doesn't count for shit. And I did a whole bunch of other martial arts and stuff way back then, a decade ago. So it's just so irrelevant. But what that meant was I was walking in there as a complete novice, as a complete, like, I was a no one. I didn't know anything. Now, I'm real good at what I do in a lot of areas, but when it came to having to actually fight somebody, these guys are all outclassed me, everyone there. I was brand new. There were a couple of people who were like sort of new, and then it was going up through white with different stripes and things, all the way to blues, purple, so on. And it was a fantastic opportunity because I was looking to see how serious are these guys? How real are these guys? Because I don't want no bullshit. Like, if I'm coming here to learn this shit, I want to learn this shit. So if you don't actually try and put me in hard situations and test me and challenge me, I'm going to know that this is the wrong place for me. And we didn't spend half an hour warming up, like I was like, that's a good start. So we spent a few minutes warming up and then got straight into going over practicing moves and stuff. And I was like, okay, trying to get my handle. And by the end of it, I had a pretty good idea what side control was. And I had that was my thing. I knew what side control was. I was like, cool. And beyond that, I sort of can get a feel for where some of these other moves are going. That's cool. And then it was, let's do some rolls. Let's have some sparring. Let's see what we can, in class and the rest of it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anything. They're like, well, that's cool. Just go anyway and just go for it. I'm like, okay, cool. So I had to go with the guy I'd been practicing with, who was like 3 times the size of me, brand new. And like, I just couldn't move. His sheer weight, like as soon as he got on top of me, I was just stuffed. I was like, I don't know enough to do anything. And I couldn't, even though I had that one move down, as soon as he moved me enough, I didn't know what to do next, and his weight would just overpower me, and I just kept having that. I was like, okay, so this is going nowhere, but it's all good. I'm starting out. I don't care. Like, fighting someone huger than you, it's not a big deal. And then the sensei of the class goes, no, Pete, you want to fight this chick over here. Barb, you can fight Pete. And he goes, don't underestimate her. And I was like, okay. And she's tiny. She's small as. And I was like, okay, sweet as. And within about 20 seconds, she'd moved quickly enough that I didn't know where she was going, and she'd got me, and I was like, yep, tap, I'm out. Cool. Would have been less. Probably would have been maybe 5 or 10. And then, though, I had a feel for it. I stepped back a second, okay, this is a different opponent. Like, I can't fight this the same way. I need to rethink about what I'm trying to do. And I realized that all I have to do is not lose. right? I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying not to lose. And against her, she can't just overpower me. So she's got to out skill me. And I went into the next role where I was consistently going, how do I move? Every time I saw something coming in a way that would look to weaken my position, or I sensed an intent, I would respond. And I just danced. And I realized that there was this dance. And it was funny because she would have to telegraph her movements with her body position, because
I
with
see.
her body against me, I can feel where she's going. And I'm like, nope, I don't want you to go in that way. And as soon as I panicked, which I did right off the bat, and seized up, I was fucked. But as soon as I just went, it's okay. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying not to lose. I
As a
just kept
reframe,
moving.
right?
Exactly. So I had a very, very, very limited skill set available to me and a little bit of physical size. And all I did for 4.5 minutes was just keep moving. And it was, and then I thought, cool, this is really good. I got the hang of it. And then I went up against a blue belt who just completely just pummeled me. Every time I tried to do something, I was like, I'd move and I'd be like, right, I'm out. And like, okay, now I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm back into something again. Oh, I'm back into something again. And
Of course.
you feel that helplessness. And
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a battle against, like, well, I'm not going to give up. Like, I know that I'm going to lose this. And I know that he's going to get me. But the longer it takes him to get me, the more I'm learning. And it's funny because eventually I realized a lot of people in the class were watching this shit. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, well, it's funny because I could see them being like, you got him now. Oh, yeah, get him.
It's like a
Oh,
rodeo at that point.
exactly. Right. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep moving. I'm just gonna keep moving. I'm gonna keep going. And I'm winning. I'm winning because I'm achieving what I'm setting out to achieve in our contest, and they're not. They're way above me, but in the frame right now, I'm winning. And when you look at how a hero approaches a lot of things, he might be one guy against 1,000 opponents, but he is winning because of
I
where
see.
he's coming from. And it's that frame, it's that ability to just say, I don't see this the way you see this. I see this the way that makes me the hero. I see this the way that makes me victorious, that makes me a winner, no matter what you do, no matter how you challenge me. It's impossible for you to defeat me. I'm undefeatable because I've already won
Mm-hmm.
in my own mind. I win every moment because winning is who I am. You start to become automatically reflexive with this mindset. You start to build it to a point where your response to the stimuli is to go into that heroic mindset as opposed to the opposite, if that makes sense.
That does make sense because from a, let's say, higher perspective or what the bigger goal is, if you're a white belt, your goal is not to win the fight. Your goal is to learn as much as possible from every fight, which means the only way that you're going to learn is to learn how to survive better, longer, smarter, be more elusive. The first half a year, and I've done BJJ as well for at least a year before the lockdown in the Netherlands. Um, my first priority was survival at all times. Now, did it work
Absolutely.
out every time? No, it did not. Did I quit? Hell no. Was I absolutely drained after every session? You bet your ass I was. But because I come from a very strike heavy background, the first half a year was being in a helpless hell for me. Because as you said, I had to learn to play a different game. Not the game of I'm not gonna tap, not the game of I'm gonna win this fight. It's going to be the game of how can I survive the longest and the smartest? because I know how it was in your case, but 9 out of 10 fights, I would be the smaller, lighter, tinier, skinnier, most likely not even the hairier guy in this case, which is a very unique situation to be in, if you know me.
Classic, brother. I get it though, right? Like you are playing the role of the hero where you feel outmatched,
Yeah,
and it doesn't even matter if it's like you're going into that moment and you find a different way of thinking about it. You just think about it differently,
right.
heroically. It's like it's crazy because when I think of references that come to mind, I just see hours I spent playing video games. It trained
Mm,
me to be like, you're the main character and there's 1,000 enemies out there, but it doesn't matter because you're going to get better and you won't fight anything that kills you too quickly unless you do something really stupid. And
yeah,
so like it kind of gives you that frame of reference where if you go, you know what, why aren't I the hero of my own story? And you choose to be that and you say, I'm going to start living that way. There's so much reference for it out there that your mind will find the right frame to put you into
I see.
where you have to let go of your ego a bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to be willing to change to be the you of the moment, not the you that you think you are or think you were or have been in the past. Because life is always coming at you with something new.
Hmm.
And I didn't expect to have to fight people who are that advanced. I didn't expect that.
Hmm.
And it was good because when I look back on it, I went, well, that is appropriate. That is what I want. I want a place that actually pushes me. I want a place that challenges me. I want to get stuck into it. And I straight away saw how all of the things that I've studied through IMC tech that come from martial arts, they've been mental martial arts in a way. It's a really lot of strong stuff. The culture of IMC is just fucking full of it. And here I am walking into the physical martial arts as a practical noob, right? Like, yeah, sure, I could be worse, but let's be real. I'm not fucking, there's not like, I'm not impressive. So the fact that I can do any of that shit on my first day blows me away in a way that I have to actually go, well, hang on, I got to respect that mental game that I walk into these doors with. And remember that anyone in here might be a physical giant to me, but realistically, have they mentally done what I've done? I don't know. Maybe, hey, maybe they have. Like, cool, let's go, right? Let's go. Let's learn something. Let's teach me. Let's the rest of it. Because I'm not scared of people out there in the world bigger and tougher and stronger than me. Because if they're good people, they'll become my brother anyway, or my
I
sister.
see.
We'll work together. And if they're an enemy and they're evil and all the rest of it, well, that's not fucking good. And if they're stronger than me, sweet ass. I got plenty of brothers and sisters out there that I know I can be like, hey, I need a whatever the hell I need to deal with this. And we can go and tackle that problem, right?
Of
And
course.
you can use the word enemy and things like it could be. I had a discussion with a client today about
Hmm.
handling your competitors and how do you see it. And I said, you've got to have the right frame. In a heroic sense, heroes, they never go halfway. So something is either a problem dealt with or it's not a problem. And they just
Right.
don't even care. There's no like, hey, could you like just maybe not be such a bad guy and I'll, like it's not there's like this weird like they either hey, that's not okay, I'm doing something about it, or that's not a problem and I'm leaving it alone. They're busy, they're focused on what they're doing and things don't catch their attention that aren't part of it. So
Exactly.
it's is your and whether you're coming at it from a place of peace or a place of war, or whichever way you want to go, when that fork comes, don't go the middle road and just along the middle. Either come down on them or lift them up. However you're going to approach with that frame as a hero. When someone comes into your space who is a fellow predator like yourself, a fellow
I see.
person of power, another strong, are you going to join my tribe or are we going to have a go? And
Mm.
it's funny because you almost think, okay, well, this is like really aggressive. This is really direct. Well, if you approach with your arms open directly every time, it's actually very respectful. And when you notice heroes do that, they walk up and they go like, hey, this is blah, and this is what I think about the situation. And sometimes it causes a conflict, and sometimes it works out to be a misunderstanding, and sometimes it creates a mutual respect. They don't know, but they just walk in there and they be themselves. Whereas we're like, how are they gonna think of us? What if I say this and try and make it so that they... No, that's not how it works. Be that
Interesting.
genuine, put it forward, and take it from the perspective of the hero, moving in the moment.
Right.
It's... how would I put it? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Hmm. What are my thoughts on that would have a lot to be with a combination between Stoicism, the surrender experiment, and maybe some few other IMC technologies that we managed to get along the way. I remember ACD once talking about it is not that the event angers us, it is that the event, we allow the event to anger us
Mhm.
because of how the event triggers us. Now, if I am caught in, be it a physical altercation, be it at the JoJo, on the streets, or whatever place, I need to keep my mind in check. A calm mind will always be faster, and on a calm mind will always be way more proactive in doing the correct thing, regardless of whether he is battling a good person or a bad person or simply de escalating a situation. Now, here's where the reframe comes into play. If things are outside of my control, I can still control myself. However, if things are clearly in my control, well, it's time to be assertive. It's time to beast out, as you know, the IMC terminology goes. It is
Exactly.
in that
Exactly.
knowledge that we see you immediately go, right, it's completely outside of my control what they do to me because they're that good. However, it's absolutely in my control how I respond. I go, oh shit, I lost, and feel absolutely horrible. Or seeing how they're not breaking any bones yet, or throwing you across the room and absolutely tiring you out, supposedly. He decided to change the game from a game of who can get the most taps in or submissions, who can hold out the longest, or how can I make this a battle of attrition.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's and then you play such a different game than that when or at the moment you're being tapped, he said, fuck yeah, let's go again within a few seconds, maybe a few milliseconds. And most people don't expect that, especially if you're a
It's funny.
newcomer.
It's funny if you say that because
Mhm.
I didn't know that that wasn't normal, and I didn't realize it now until you said it. But now I realize everyone was like, okay, because I'd be like, okay, yeah, got up, sweet ass, and I'd come around and be like, let's go, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, because I was like, I had no hesitation, I had no hesitation, and I see where you're coming from because when I think back in memory, I remember the hesitation. I remember feeling that exhaustion after a fight because I remember how much mentally harder it was. Like I'm going back 10 years in my mind roughly and sort of unlocking some of these memories as you're triggering something. Yeah, because there was like a hesitation after you have a role. And it's interesting because what happens is as you start to build the mindset like a hero and you start to live like a hero, it creates huge differences. And until you come across something where you see it, you don't notice. Because, for example, I wasn't mentally tired at all. Physically, yeah, I was kind of tired, but I didn't really care that I was physically tired because I wasn't mentally tired. And I remember one of the guys came up to me and he kind of tried to give me that, hey, look, bro, I know that you're new and I know that it can be really demoralizing, but you've got to stick it out. Like, I know how hard it is. And I'm like, yeah, it's really easy, but I don't want to tell you that because I can see how hard it was for you. And right now you're like, I can see right now that that would be a little bit, because you were the guy who came in here thinking, yeah, I'm something, and rah, rah, rah. And you look at me and you're like, man, he's even smaller than I was, you know? I was like, nah, bro, you don't realize who I am.
Don't put a target on your back unnecessarily.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Right? Like, I want to give everyone in there the absolute massive respect, because I really do respect every single guy and girl in there who's putting in that effort into bettering themselves. Like, we all are brothers and sisters in that spirit, in that thing. And I don't care what it is in life, you should treat people who like what you like as brothers and sisters in that thing. In the car community, right? It doesn't matter if you like a different fucking car, you're both car people, treat each other like family. And we miss this in life, because when people bond over common things, they actually create strong relationships. And it's incredible, you know. And when you live heroically, you live authentically. So what you like, you express it, and you find the right people.
Right.
So that expression in that moment, it's like, when you look at it even in a business sense, that reframe from a heroic perspective, where you're seeing, you've probably encountered this, right? Because we work in the consulting industry, we run into heaps of people who are like, hey, I can coach you with this. Yeah, exactly. And I get dating coaches like trying to be like, hey, I can. It's like, bro,
yeah, I remember the pictures you sent me, right?
Oh man. But this never stops. And there's a whole industry of dating coaches out there. And realistically, yeah, I can coach someone through all that kind of stuff. It's not my absolute specialty, but I know that I know far more than most people who put themselves forward for the dating coach. I don't put much of my personal life on display in that regard. I put a lot of my personal life on display, but not in that regard. So people don't really know. And if I'm not doing that, I don't really want to teach that, as opposed to Arash, who really puts his personal life on display. You know, it's incredible. The point is, though, that from a business perspective, you run into these coaches, and I remember this guy, and I went to just go, like, I let him do his thing just for kicks, and I even gave him a couple of chances to be a real person. And then I was about to just come around and fucking destroy him. I was about to come right down. And I thought about it. And I went, you know what? This guy's actually pretty, I don't think his stuff's very good. And I don't think he's very good. But I can tell he's reasonably successful, and he's actually doing okay in the industry by the look of it. Like, he's sort of got some name. So what say you offered me to join your group? And I turned around and said, well, yeah, look, brother, I'll join your group. But I tell you, I'll be contributing. And if I'm contributing, people will like what I say, and I will do business with them. I won't reach out and DM and take people off you, but I expect to do business in the group from my contribution. Do you have a problem with that? I actually said, do you agree with that? I wasn't so confrontational. I offered my hand in friendship. I said, well, I'm going to turn up and I'm going to help. I'm going to contribute a lot of value, but that'll mean that people will want to work with me, and I'm not going to turn them down. I'm not going to go behind your back. I'm going to be honest about it. And he said, oh, yeah, you know, like my business partner probably wouldn't agree. Whatever, that's cool. But the thing I realized was, in that moment, I won either way.
I see.
And if I decided to go into that group and not tell him about it and be upfront, then there'd be conflict and bullshit and and it'd be a whole unethical thing and the rest of it. Whereas if I went in there knowing who I am, what I'm about, and they know straight from the bat, I can speak in a way that I don't have to worry about that shit. And I will pick up clients. I know wherever I go, I contribute value. And I know that it's a numbers game. I contribute enough value and people go, you know what? Actually, I'm curious. I'll try working with you. And I have yet to have someone try working with me who has not said, I would love to continue this. Apart from people who have quit on themselves after a period of time.
I like how you reframed a unexpected problem, where you went, I can absolutely demoralize this man's career and derail him for life, or I can make this into an interesting game and see what he does, where you basically checkmate him and gave him an offer he simply couldn't refuse. Because if he does refuse, okay, he's missing a major contribution, which you're maybe a bit reluctant to give anyway. And on the other hand,
Yeah,
should you be accepted, fantastic, you have another potential client follow because of your
absolutely.
contributions, meaning you win either way. It's just such a fantastic moment of you catching your your quote unquote keyboard hero tendencies to absolutely go off on this guy and asking yourself, what's the bigger game here? What's my
Absolutely.
true purpose? Your true purpose is let's be a hero and help people. I know dating technology. I know with the dating technology and the right reframing of the situation, not only can you help the most absolute worst case scenario of a guy or gal, but also you can add so much to their life that not only will their dating life improve, but their overall hero's adventure. Am I right, Pete?
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Because it's really, I've got to give massive credit to you, Ryan,
Oh,
for
appreciate it.
the title of Kingmaker, because you were the first person that came up with Kingmaker. And then my other clients started calling it to me too. And I said, fuck it, we're going to go with it. And from there, I've really seen how that is the right title. Technically, you could say King Refiner, King Shaper. You know, I work with a lot of guys who are already fucking incredible. And I'm just fine tuning things that they can't see because everyone has blind spots, bro. I can't see my hand right now without the camera, right? Like, it's blind. I'm blind there, brother. And we've all got them. So that ability to just, how do I even frame it? It's like you saying, you've got to, ooh, the almost camera almost went there. There's the one. I'm not afraid of anyone I know working with anyone I know and the potential that they might choose to work more with them than me and I might lose business because I don't think like that. Because I think that anyone who works with me, who works with someone else I know, will be grateful. So even if I lose business, I'm not going to lose gratitude. If I do lose gratitude, there's going to be a respect loss and that person's going to find their way out of my life anyway. When you really start committing to following that heroic path and finding that purpose. And like it doesn't matter who you are, there's going to be some rough, tough shit. There's going to be some dirty work. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean dirty work, but I mean, one, it's going to be dirty. It's going to be disgusting shit you don't want to deal with. And two, it's going to be work. You're going to have to work and grind through it.
Every day.
And that's just the truth of the matter, you know. The thing that's tragic is people are going to pick their own reality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much wrapping this up in summary, right? We're all going to pick our own choices in life, and it's going to suck at times for you. How badly it sucks and how it sucks determines on the choices that you make if you choose to suffer through things for a better tomorrow.
Right.
Like, modern society will tell you not to do that. But at the end of the day, we all know that when you gain some power and gain some responsibility in life, because people are crying out for some responsibility, some good purpose and work to put their hands to achieve something that means something, some purpose. But how do you do it? The world has hidden that from us. That's the part where people have become brainwashed because that's what's been taken away to make them weak, is their purpose and work and that heart and drive to achieve something. And that's what I
Hmm.
want to give back. I want to help people regain the kingdom of whatever it is they choose to be a king of. You know, if it's a king of the making the best fresh organic produce, or if it's a king of, you know, real estate. I don't care what you want to be a king of. Maybe you just want to be a king of, like, I have an earl. The earl that, you know, the village, right? We have
Right.
a whole thing going here. There's what do you want? Let's make it happen. Let's make it fun. Let's make it real. And let's make it work for you, as
I
opposed to
see.
you having to be a slave to any idea that's been fed to you. Let's create it. Man, I'm just going to wax lyrical forever now.
I see. I
And
see. Now, in the business context, pretty straightforward. Choose your own adventure. If you choose and your frame, if you choose an adventure and a frame where you get demoralized, then it will be so. But if you decide to, you know, take upon a new frame of work-life balance where you start to realize what they truly are creatures of adventure. Why do we seek in whatever company, in whatever role that we are, be it a more external consultant or someone that actually works in the company? Is that dilemma, or not dilemma, is that challenge of how much do I want to give? And I would say give it your all, because it's in giving your all and not expecting whatever outcome is where you gain the most. You create the conditions for your success. And it's in that new reframe, I believe Phil Jackson says it the best. It is in really understanding your role in the team, especially towards each other and towards the higher vision of your team, the company, or society, is where you will win. And seeing how we have one last minute, ending notes would be, in the way that you reframe the game is in the way that you win. Any notes for you?
yeah, that really is the summary, you know. And I think that it's it's a fascinating thing to look into, and the ability to have, like, I feel like, you know, I talk a lot about how I can offer and help that with people. I just, lastly, I don't want people to miss how you helped me codify my ability to do that, right? Like, without the word Kingmaker and all the structure and help you've helped put behind my business, I wouldn't be able to help other people do this for themselves. So it all goes round, right? We all need to value exchange, because the more value exchange, like, someone reached out to me today who just liked